here, Dash. Come here. Come here. Come here. Come here. Here, what do you want? Hi, guys. Can you hear Dash? Yes, I hear you. Come here. He wants a bone. Come here. Here's Dash. Oh, so loud and noisy. All right, so I'm having trouble getting the link posted to Classrooms. Let's see if I can get it up. I don't know why, but it's just not letting me post it. Please feel free to share the link with your friends if you see them. I emailed it also to you guys. I'm not sure what's going on with Classroom, why it's being so annoying. Let's try one more time, see if I can get it to post. It just keeps saying posting, 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 posting. Let's see. You know what? I'm going to put it in my Hangouts as well. I'll put it for my... Oh, I think it just posted. Let's see. Put it as my Hangouts status too. Did that do it? No, it's... I don't know why it's taking forever to post. Let's see. Just give me a couple more minutes. I'm not sure if you guys can chat with me. If you can and you're here and you want to say hello, please feel free to. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put it under... let's see if I can put it under something else. Let me try another assignment. I'll try posting it one more time. Okay, Dash, come here. He's barking at Daisy for some reason. Come here, buddy. All right, let's see if this works. I know. Come here. It's bizarre. I'm not sure why it's not working. All right, I'm going to try to post it through my phone. Okay, let's see. Let's see if I can post it on my phone. Okay, let's see. Oh, I think it posted. Hopefully that got us some people. Okay. Edit. All right. Phew. Sorry about that. That took forever. Oh, okay. Dash is ready to come over and join me for our bedtime story. Okay, so we left off in Elvis and the Underdogs. And I think that we left off right at the spot where they were about to tell Alexander that he was now going to be in the spelling bee. And we know that Alexander doesn't really enjoy surprises. So this should be interesting. Okay. Here we go. Well, let's just say he did not take the news well the next day. In fact, he took it pretty much the opposite of well. Daisy asked both of us to volunteer after school and help Principal Creasley run the spelling bee. But Alexander Chang Cohen didn't know the kind of help we really needed. So there we were, standing backstage with the spelling bee about to start, when Daisy nudged me to the side, pushing me closer to Alexander. I took a deep breath. Now, I've had a lot of experience with Band-Aids in my 10 years on this planet. And the thing people say about how tearing it off quickly is better than trying to peel it off slowly is absolutely right when it comes to Band-Aids. Not so much when it comes to delivering bad news. Hey, Alexander, thanks for helping out, I said. And then I just kept talking. So what Tazy and I need you to do is to enter the spelling bee today. Then you can go citywide spelling bee, which we need you to win so that you can get us the state spelling bee, and then win that. And then we'll be able to go to DC where you'll be able to compete in the national spelling bee. And while we're there, we'll be able to help Elvis with whatever trouble he's in. How does that sound? Plan, right? I realized that at some point while I was blurting the whole thing, I had closed my eyes. And when I had finished, I opened one eye first to look at Alexander Chen Cohen's face, and then I opened my second eye. It was hard to read his expression, and he didn't say anything right away. I guess it was a lot of information to digest, so it was fair to give him a little bit of time to take everything in. He took about 5 seconds to take it all in, and then he bolted. It was so sudden, it was a moment before I realized what had actually happened. 1 second he was right in front of me, and then he wasn't. I had no choice but to run after him. I passed Tazy as I ran out to the side door that led to the back of the school hallway. Did you see Alexander run by? Just texting one of you guys on Google Hangouts to make sure this is working. If it is working, send me a message on Google Hangouts so that I know that I'm not just reading to the space. Okay. She nodded and pointed to the right. He went that way. So I'm guessing it didn't go so well. I started to run down the hall in the direction she pointed, and I called back, "You guessed correctly!" She yelled back, "Hurry, Benji, you've got to get him back here quick. It starts in less than 20 minutes. I looked at my watch to check the time, which is when I heard Ripley bark, so I looked down at him, but I wasn't sure why he was barking. Then I looked up and realized he was barking because I was running straight into Principal Chrisley, who was also not looking because he was reading through the index cards, which probably had his opening remarks written on them for the spelling bee. I slammed right into him, and I would have bounced off and hit the floor, but he somehow managed to grab me in a weird, awkward principal hug that I kind of wanted to forget about even while it was happening. So as my face was pressed into the belly of my principal, I faced something weird, warm, and sticky on my forehead. Oh no, surely I wasn't bleeding, which would mean another trip to the hospital for me. I reached my hand up and realized it wasn't blood. It was the warm frosted Cinnabon stuck to my head and in my hair. I pulled away and smushed the Cinnabon dropped to the floor along with his index cards. Sorry, Principal Chrisley, I didn't see you. I pulled away. Principal Chrisley and I have quite a history together because he's had to deal with my mom a lot since I started school, which automatically means he's wary of all of my interactions with me because my mom can be a little high maintenance. I crouched on the floor and picked up a fallen card that I found as quickly as I could. Then I handed them to Principal Chrisley, who was now examining the giant Cinnabon circle that was on his Navy sports jacket. I would love to say that Principal Chrisley. I would love to stay and chat Principal K, but I was running in the hall because I really, really, really have to go to the bathroom. And if I don't get there soon, I might just go, Benjamin. I'll be fine. He paused and sighed. And I'm sorry about your Cinnabon, too. That's probably the real tragedy here. I looked down at the ground so I could pick it up and throw it away. And then I noticed Ripley was chewing on it. Oops. Well, at least someone got to eat it. Come on, Ripley, we gotta go. And then he took off running again. Benjamin, don't run in the hall. I slowed to a fast walk. Right, Principal K, got it, I yelled back as I rounded the corner. I stopped when I was out of sight and leaned up against the wall to catch my breath for a second. I wiped my forehead and ended up with a fistful of frosting, which I hand out to Ripley to lick off. I guess even though my day was rapidly going downhill, his was getting better. Now, I had no idea where Alexander Chen Cohen had run off to, and I only had 12 minutes to find him. Luckily, Ripley led me to the band room. I patted his head. Good, Ripley, good boy. I opened the door quickly and peeked my head into the dark room. I turned on the light and scanned around, and I didn't see him. But then I remembered that in the back of the band room, there was a large storage room where the kids put their instruments during the school day. I jiggled the door handle. Hey, Alexander, it's me, Benji. Can I come in? Yes, I heard Alexander Chen Cohen's voice, even though I couldn't see him at first. After my eyes adjusted to the dark, I saw his hand wave me over to the back corner, where I found him sitting against the wall behind a few cellos. He had his face pressed into his legs. I slid down the wall until I was sitting right next to him. I'm sorry to spring you on this like I did. I guess I should have done it differently. Alexander Chang Cohen didn't say anything. Alexander? Still no response. But then I heard a sniffle, which made me feel terrible because that meant he was upset or had been crying. I'm really sorry, Alexander. Please don't be upset. Alexander Chang Cohen still didn't lift his face up, so his words were kind of muffled. No, I'm the one who's sorry, Benji. I can't do it. I wish I could, but I can't. And if you don't want to be my friend anymore, I understand. Just when I thought I couldn't feel any worse, I did. As I mentioned before, I'm kind of new to the whole friend thing, so I wasn't so sure what I was doing. What are you talking about, Alexander? We're friends forever. I'll always want you to be my friend. I'm just so sorry about all the things that I should have known, and this was a bad idea, especially since Billy Thompson was involved. Billy Thompson? Why did you talk to him? It's a long story, and I'll tell you later. You know what? I forgot. Just forget I asked about the spelling bee. Let's just go home. I can't do it because it would be cheating, he said, finally looking at me. And he told me that because of his total recall, he would probably easily win the spelling bee, and that wouldn't be fair to all the other kids competing. I never thought about it from his point of view, but I understood what he meant immediately. I get it, Alexander. It's okay. But it's not. I have the chance to help you, but instead I'm hiding and freaking out. When he put it that way, I didn't really know what to say. It was true. It would be helpful if he entered and won the school spelling bee. I should have just let the whole thing go. But then I thought about Elvis and what I'd do for him, which was pretty much anything. What if you got us to DC and then threw the national championships so you didn't use your total recall thing? Alexander sniffled and pulled his legs up even more. Uh-oh. I take it back. I said, okay, I definitely needed more practice with this friendship thing, I guess. It was a stupid idea. Forget I even said anything. Alexander Chang Cohen stood up. If it really means that much to you, I guess I could do it. He sounded so sad it made my chest hurt. Took a deep breath, stood in the dark. But I lost my balance and crashed into the cello case in front of me. Alexander Chang Cohen helped me up, and when I tried to pick up the cello, he stopped me. I'll do it. You just stay there and turn on the light. Alexander Chang Cohen went to flip on the light. He stared at me funny for a moment, and then he asked, "What's that white stuff in your hair?" I patted my head. It's Principal Chrisley's Cinnabon frosting. I looked at my watch and realized we only had 5 minutes to make it back to the auditorium. It's going to start soon. Let's go. Alexander and I jogged towards the auditorium in total silence. But the closer we got to it, the more I knew I had to do something. I remembered something my mom once told me, which was that doing the right thing is really the easiest thing to do. So as we got there, I stopped and grabbed Alexander Chang Cohen's arm. I guess because a good friend of mine meant I needed to do the right. I guess being a good friend meant me I need to do the right thing for him, even though I wasn't what I wanted. I don't want you to do it, Alexander, I said. And this time I really meant it. It's not worth it. I appreciate you being willing to do this for my friendship, but out of friendship to you, I can't let you. We'll find another way to get to DC. Alexander Chang Cohen looked happy and relieved. He smiled, and I knew for sure that I'd made the right choice. Then he frowned. So what do we do now? He said. We still have to get to DC. We grabbed Daisy and figure it out over Cinnabons. Chapter 6. The following Saturday morning, I popped out of bed, gobbled up my breakfast, and then told my mom Ripley and I were going to the park to meet Alexander Chang Cohen to watch Daisy's archery practice. This was only half true. We were also planning to brainstorm about how to get to DC. I'd almost made it out the door. Almost. Whoa, what's the rush, Mom asked. What I wanted to say was, well, funny story, Mom. But Elvis, my former first dog, who is now the country's first dog, sent me a coded secret message over YouTube that says he needs my help. So it's really important to me that I meet up with my friends right now so we can figure out a way to get to DC. But what I really said was, rush? There's no rush. Gotta go. Bye. Bye, Mom. See you later. Stop. You look a little tired lately. Are you sleeping well enough? Moms just know, I guess, because she was right. I wasn't sleeping because I was worried about Elvis. And when I did sleep, I had weird dreams about Elvis. And sometimes Ripley woke me up because I was talking in my sleep. I haven't been sleeping well, Mom. You're right. But maybe it's because I need more sunshine. Yeah, that's it. I hear the thing is lack of sunshine. So that's what I'm going to go try. Bye, Mom. My mom laughed and she shook her head. Fine, go. And I was already out the front door when I heard her yell after me, "Don't forget your sunscreen! And text me!" Luckily, one of our town's biggest parks is in walking distance of our house. It had only been a month since I was allowed to even go to the park by myself. Well, with Ripley. It took a lot of convincing, and the first 10 times I had to stay on the phone with my mom while I was walking. Finally, she said I didn't have to be on the phone with her. But I did have to take a picture of the park when I got there and text it to her. As soon as I got to the park, I saw Tazy standing in the distance. I took a picture for my mom. Tazy was standing so still, eyeing her target. Eyeing her target so intently, it was almost like she was a statue. There was a small crowd of people sitting on the grass, quietly watching practice. I guess nobody wanted to distract one of the kids and somehow end up with an arrow in their forehead. Everyone says kids are influenced by what they see in the movies, televisions, books. And I will admit that Alexander Chang Cohen and I had a long conversation about what it would be like if we were roommates at the Hogwarts Academy. It's just fun to think about, all the many what-ifs and all. But the difference between Tazy McDonald and the rest of us is that she sees something like the movie Brave and she just doesn't say, "I think it'd be cool to learn how to use a bow and arrow," and then move on to something a few days later. She says it once, and then the next thing you know, her dad has bought her all the equipment, set up a practice board in the backyard, and she's taking private lessons learning how to do archery. Benji, you can't find your passion unless you try a lot of things, she once explained to me. Besides, how will you know if you like something unless you try everything? So, Tazy thought archery would be fun. It might help her miss gymnastics less. But of course, Tazy is Tazy, and she was already better at it than most people. This is where her dad came in. Tazy just wanted to have fun and compete with her. He wanted her to go to tournaments. Either way, I liked watching Tazy's practice. I just didn't like to sit near Big Tate McDonald, because if he's too intense for Tazy, he was way too intense for me. So while he was busy videotaping Tazy, I found myself a nice spot in the grass away from him. I settled in. I put down the towel I brought with me in my backpack, put down a different towel for Ripley, sprayed the perimeter of bug spray around my towel, applied SPF 75 sunscreen, and put my baseball cap on to block the sun from my eyes. Then I gave Ripley a rawhide to chew on and texted Alexander Chang Cohen. "Where are you?" Alexander's mom thinks texting is ruining the English language and is making the entire world of short attention span lazy spellers. So she makes Alexander text in full sentences. It's weird, but not as weird if you know him. "I'm about 40 yards southwest of you, give or take 10 feet, a few feet." I turned around and sure enough, there was Alexander Chang Cohen walking towards me with a rolling laptop case behind him. You know, some kids bring bats and balls to the park. Some kids, probably just this one kid, brings a backpack with a laptop. I waved to him, and he waved back. Alexander Chang Cohen has his own ritual when he sets up in the park. He puts down his towel, and he has this folding chair thing that doesn't have legs, so he's not sitting on the ground, but it has back support. He also has a sun visor if he needs it. He doesn't use the sun visor to protect himself from the sun, but he uses it so that he can see his laptop screen in the sunlight. But when he sits down, his first order of business is picking out the grass out of the wheels of his laptop case. He has to do this right away because he can't concentrate until he does. I know it's quirky, but here's the thing I'm learning about our friendship. It requires tolerance. You tolerate my weirdo quirky things, and I'll tolerate yours. When he was done, he looked over at me and said, "Hey, did you finish your social studies homework?" "Alexander, who cares about homework? We have much bigger things to deal with right now." "Oh, you mean the math test?" "No, forget school. We've got to figure out a way to get to DC. Can't you invent a time machine and get us to summer vacation so we can go?" Even if I could build a time machine, if we used it to go to summer vacation, it's not like the next few months wouldn't exist. So I'm not sure how helpful it would. Alexander, I was kidding. I'm just trying to let you know that I'm getting a little desperate. What do you think Elvis needs help with? I have no idea. You know, the more I think about Elvis's secret coded message, the more questions I have. If he was able to send us a message, that means he can spell, which I don't think dogs can do, right? Uh-oh. I've been waiting for these sort of questions to come up, and I knew it would be Alexander Chang Cohen who asked them. I figured Tazy wouldn't ask about Elvis because she definitely believes Princess Daisy understands her, so she probably doesn't think it's so odd that he contacted me, because I'm sure she'd expect it if she were away, and Princess Daisy would comfort her in a girly way, like spell out her name in Daisy's. I haven't really thought about it much. I just figured with all the special training he got when he was a puppy, he was taught to read too. I mean, he is a trained service therapy dog, so it does make sense that they would teach him to read. So he could read the street signs and all. When trying to avoid more questions, I usually talk really fast, and then I try to change the subject as fast as possible. Hey, you want to go to the snack bar? It worked because he immediately forgot all about Elvis and instead told me that he would love a slushie. But he didn't want to bring his laptop bag over there because then he'd have to bring it back and then he'd have to clean the wheels again. And of course, he couldn't leave it behind because it wasn't safe. You can see where I'm in a tough position, right? Plus, I don't think my mom would want me to have a slushie this soon after breakfast. I guess you could say you're between a slushie and a grassy place, as opposed to being between a rock and a hard place, I said. Very clever, Benji. That was really funny. Sometimes Alexander Chenko does that. He says things are funny as opposed to laughing. It's another quirk about him that I like. I told him to guard our stuff and I would go for both of us. As Ripley and I were waiting in line at the snack bar, someone put their hands over my eyes and said, "Guess who?" Even though Tazy was purposely making her voice much lower than it is, I smelled the strawberry and knew it was her immediately. Let me see. Strawberry shortcake? No, guess again. Talking giraffe? One with hands, I mean, which would be kind of disturbing, so I take that back. Well, give me a hint. Who's one of your top 3 favorite people on the entire planet? Why didn't you say so? Tazy McDonald! She laughed and I turned around, looked up because she's so much taller than me, and saw her smiling face. How'd you know it was me? Was it my super cute archery outfit that you couldn't see but you just sensed? Yeah, that's exactly it. So are you taking a break? I thought your dad didn't believe in breaks during practice. He doesn't, but remember, I'm controlling things when it comes to archery. Makes him crazy he can't tell me what to do. Who knew he'd be extra crazier about competing, even if I wasn't competing? Luckily, my mom's got my back on this one, so it's all good. The only person who isn't the least bit intimidated by Tazy's dad is Tazy's mom. So, are you having fun? You mean watching my dad freak out? Yes, tons. Oh, you mean with archery? Yeah. Sports are way more fun if it's not about competing and winning. And it feels so good when you hit the bullseye. Plus, I love the sound it makes when it hits. Whoop. I shrugged, mainly because I really didn't know much about competitions and sports myself. She pointed at the flyer posted at the snack bar bulletin board. It was an announcement for a state archery competition that was taking place next weekend. The winners would go on to DC for the tri-state competition. After that, the nationals, then the Junior Olympics. My dad's been begging me to enter the tournament, but I keep telling him, no, I'm doing archery for me, not to win. Hey, pretty lady, can I buy you a slushie? I asked when I got to the front of the line. Oh, Benji, you're so funny. I'd rather have an ice cream sandwich. An ice cream sandwich this early in the morning? Yes, doesn't it sound divine? It did, actually. So I ordered 2 ice cream sandwiches, a banana, and a slushie. The banana was for Alexander Chenko to eat in case he ended up feeling too guilty to have the slushie at this time of day. While we were waiting, I told Tazy I was proud of her for standing up to her dad. I mean, why would you want to take up all your weekends with tournaments? And who wants to go to I shoved my $5 bill in Tazy's hand. Here, pay please. And then I ran back over to the archery tournament flyer on the bulletin board and ripped it down. Benji, what are you doing? Tazy said, coming up behind me with her armful of food. Tazy, you know how I said you're doing absolutely the right thing by not competing in the archery tournament just because your dad wants you to? Yes. Well, how would you feel about competing in one if your best friend begs you to do it? What are you talking about? If you win your age division, you get to move on to the next round, which is in Washington, D.C. in 2 weeks. She caught on immediately. And then we can go check on Elvis. No, and then we can go check on Elvis together. No way I'm going without you. Suddenly I realized that's what I was doing. Pressuring her to do something that she told me minutes ago she absolutely didn't want to do. This was the exact thing I just had happen with Alexander Chenko a few days ago. I sighed. But I knew it was the right thing to do was to tell her that she didn't have to do it. Never mind, Tazy. You absolutely shouldn't. Benji, stop! I'll do it! I don't want to do it just because my dad wants me to be a super winner. But I'll do it definitely. It's for you and for Elvis. Besides, Princess Daisy would want me to do it. Really? Are you sure? Because I don't want another Alexander freak out in the band room over this. I learned my how to be a good friend lesson on that one. Benji, I'm sure. Alexander and I are different. I like competitions. I just don't like competing when my dad is breathing down my neck. But I would do it for Elvis, and it makes it much more fun and cool. It's like I'm a female superhero with a purple cape. Suddenly I got nervous. This was our best chance of getting to DC. What if she didn't win the state tournament? What's wrong? Why does your face look like that? I shook my head. I didn't know what to say. Why did I always have to be such a worrier? Why couldn't I just be more positive? I didn't want to be like Taisy's dad and put even more pressure on her. It's nothing, Taisy. I'm fine. Whenever someone says they're fine, they're usually not. That's what my mom always says, and she's pretty much always right. Just tell me, Benji. I shook my head. Sure. Taisy winning the tournament would certainly solve all of our problems, but this whole Elvis thing was my responsibility. And if Taisy didn't win the tournament, then he'd just have to come up with another way to get there. Oh, I know what that face is. You're worried I may not win next week, but you don't want to say anything to me because I'm always complaining about how much pressure my dad puts on me, so you don't want to put that pressure on me. Am I close? She looked right through me, read all through my thoughts, like they were written up on a chalkboard. I nodded. Bullseye. You know, I think you're the most amazing athlete in our whole town, and that's including the twins, but we both know you haven't been doing archery very long, so maybe it's unrealistic to think that you could win the next round. It's only 7 days away. Taisy handed me the ice cream sandwich. She'd graciously unwrapped the top half for me. Benji, don't worry about me. I've been competing my whole life, and I know what it takes to win. Sure, 7 days isn't much time, but it's enough. And honestly, it's kind of exciting for me because I rarely am the underdog when it comes to things in sports, but this time I will be. I've never really heard anyone get excited to be the underdog, and I say this because I feel like I'm always the underdog and I'm never happy about it. Benji, it's going to be okay. I'm sure I can do it, knowing I have your support and Alexander's. And I know I'll have my dad's support, so we're all good. If I said I wanted to practice around the clock, he'd have lights installed in our backyard tonight. So don't worry. Though I know that it's impossible for you to not worry, just try not to. Too much, okay? She sounded so confident. I actually believed her, and I started to feel hopeful again. Believe and breathe, right? Breathe and believe, I asked, which is the phrase Taisy taught me for whenever I start to lose hope. Breathe and believe, absolutely, she said, licking the edges of her ice cream sandwich. Come on, let's go make my dad's day by telling him I'm going to go compete. And that is the end of chapter 6. I will hopefully be able to check in with you guys again sometime next week, and we can read the next 2 chapters and see if they get to Washington, D.C. and to Elvis. All right, guys, have a good night. Bye.